Within the first few weeks, I got an order from the royal family. I don't know how they found out about it.
Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Althani, and the rest of the royal family were one of the first Rina's customers. Is that right?
It's true. So I wanted to find a way to do reusable masks, but that was also very safe. More plastic is created to create polyester for clothing.
Unbelievable.
Than to create plastic bottles on this planet. People don't realize that it is the second worst industry when it comes to its negative effect on the environment.
How can you do all this entire process just by yourself?
People spend a fortune on luxury loungewear.
Yeah, true.
So what's the excuse for not making it eco-friendly?
Welcome to Fashion Podcast. It's a platform where we give voices to talented people of Qatar. We speak about fashion, style, creativity, art, and not only. And today my guest, Rina Saleh, she is the founder of amazing brand MaisonRespire, and me and her are actually wearing this brand. So why she's here? Because she founded an amazing brand 5 years ago, and it was know-how, and she started from the mask. It was silver infused. And the most interesting fact that Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Althani, and the rest of the royal family were one of the first Rina's customers. Is that right?
It's true. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be a part of this. I've been following your podcast and really enjoying it. So I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you.
And
how did it happen?
It was a complete accident, honestly. It's not, I had brought the silver nano infused masks from South Korea because both my husband and son were high risk at the start of COVID, and all that was available was the dental masks that we were all using. And I knew, one, that they were incredibly uncomfortable and ugly, and I was the only one leaving the house, right, at that time. And I felt like I was living in some weird sci-fi movie. It was very depressing to see everyone in those. And I learned, most importantly, that it takes over 100 years for each one of those masks to break down in the landfill.
How many were created during Corona times?
Yeah. I mean, the whole world was wearing them. They're only effective for 3 hours, and then we were dumping them. And they had plastic in them, which is really bad for the ecosystem. And so I wanted to find a way to do reusable masks, but that was also very safe, right? Because of the dangerous situation for my husband and son. And I brought in a few just for us, really. It wasn't meant to be a business. It was for me and for our close friends. And next thing I know, people started ordering them. So we had to very quickly set up a business. And honestly, within the first few weeks, I got an order from the royal family. I don't know how they found out about it. I don't know how they got our information. And
but how did you find out that they were? You saw them wearing it actually, or in social media? How?
Well, I would get calls from assistants asking me. I mean, at the time, I was getting in the car and I was going to deliver them, and slowly I figured out who I was delivering to. They were very discreet. They were very, so much respect for that family, and then I started seeing them in the press, etc., wearing them. I never publicized it at the time. I was
actually a lot of people talking about you, but no one actually see you. So this is she is the one.
Oh well,
yes.
That's kind of embarrassing to think about.
No. You should take it with the grace. You deserve it, really. You did something really amazing. People should know more. Should know more about people like you. From where you have this sense of importance of sustainability. Not every person is able to have it in spite of the income moments, you know what I mean?
I think I was brought up, my mother always had a very strong sense of justice. I grew up in Washington, D.C. I'm of Lebanese origin. And so, there were always opportunities to either give speeches for me as a child. She had me singing songs at the Kennedy Center at one point as a very young child about Lebanon. giving, speeches, doing rallies. So it was always a very innate part of who I am. But I think beyond that, just as human beings, we're all interconnected. And for me, sustainability isn't just about the physical planet. Humans are a part of nature as well. And so we need to understand or think about how what our decisions are, what we wear, what we buy, what we represent, how we live, our lifestyles, how that affects everyone and everything else. And I think that's becoming more and more apparent to people, in the past couple of years about the impact of our choices on everything, on the planet, on politics, on everything. It really matters, and it matters in fashion as well.
Yeah, so by doing your brand, which we are wearing now, MaisonRespire, can you tell me why did you choose this name and how it's reflected on the future of... So basically, first it was a mask, now it's the launch of the actual homeware, right?
Yes.
So you step forward, but the name?
So MaisonRespire means house of breath. Again, much like the start of the brand, which was Respire Concepts and Design, that was originally a complete accident because people were suddenly ordering masks. I realized, oh my goodness, I need to start a business, and I needed to think of a name. And my background is in public relations. I worked in PR in New York City for a very long time. And so I had registered the name, even though I never used it, RSPR. We had the domain name.
I see.
And one day my husband, son, and I are sitting there like, oh my gosh, we need to register a company. What do we do? What do we do? And we realized RSPR is respire, which means to breathe.
Correct.
And seeing that, it just kind of fit. It was meant to be. That's something that is eco-friendly, and at the time it was just masks. It's all about breathing. We were like, okay, there we go. We have our name, Respire.
From masks to clothes. Why homeware?
Once I got into the masks, I started learning more and more about the fashion industry and the incredibly negative impact it has on the planet and on the environment. People don't realize that it is the second worst industry when it comes to its negative effect on the environment, only after oil and gas.
My God.
And for something as frivolous as fashion to be doing that much harm to the environment, it really doesn't make sense to me. So I started learning, once I became aware of that, I started learning more about fabrics and the industry in general and the amount of waste. And I wanted to create fashion that would take all of those things into consideration. And we started with an athleisure wear brand called Respire. And all of the products were made out of recycled plastic bottles. And at the time, I thought, I still do think that's incredibly cool, because what people don't know is that polyester, which is in 60% of the clothing on this planet, is in effect plastic.
Oh my God.
And more plastic is created to create polyester for clothing.
Unbelievable.
Than to create plastic bottles on this planet.
But why not to use the plastic itself to use for polyester? Why to create more? That's the question.
Well, that's it. So I was saying, okay, not that I think polyester is great, but since it's in 60% of our clothes, let's at least recycle plastic that already exists. All the athletic wear brands are full of polyester. All the leggings, all of it, it's all polyester. And so, okay, we're doing this. At the time I was living in athleisure wear. Let me make it out of recycled plastic bottles.
Okay, that's cool when you have idea, when you have the name, but a technical part, how did you find the fabric? How did you find the people to do it? How did you deliver? It's such an entire industry. I'm always surprised how one person, you don't have like designer background or something. How can you do all this entire process just by yourself? How? Tell me.
I just do. I just honestly, I
Where to
love
start?
I love researching things. I love exploring. I love looking into history. I love looking into trends. I mean, this fabric, for example, is no longer fabric that I haven't found it anywhere else on the market. There are other fabrics made out of banana, but this silk I haven't been able to find. But it was used in the 14 to 1800s quite a bit in Japan to make the robes for royalty and samurais. And then, of course, because it's very labor intensive, it's hard to make, synthetic fabrics, came into the market, it died down. And so, we're looking at luxury loungewear here. People spend a fortune on luxury loungewear.
Yeah, true.
So what's the excuse for not making it eco-friendly? Let's bring this fabric back.
Okay, next step. You need to find the people who are gonna do this for you. You Google everything. How you make sure that this is not somebody like a fraud, not somebody like a scam, like you cannot physically travel, right, in that time?
No, well the fabric for this I just, found a few months ago, like in the past year.
I see.
I probably shouldn't admit this, but I'm a very trusting person.
You are trusting.
And
you trust the universe and God, you see?
I do. And I also really do try to build personal relationships with all of the people I work with, even though I may not physically be next to them. So through Zoom, telephone, obviously, I look at any past work they've done. But yes, a lot of trust goes in it. Sometimes it might be good to be a little bit naive in life.
Yeah, sometimes.
Because it allows you
to
take the plunge and not be so scared.
Who are the one doing this clothes? Tell me about these women.
So this is a beautiful group. It's actually headed by a wonderful, wonderful woman in India, and she supports local artisans. And they create all sorts of eco-friendly fabrics. And with her, we worked together and went through many, many, many iterations until we were able to develop this fabric that has exactly the feel and the characteristics that I was looking for. So there was a lot of back and forth for us to create this together.
How much time it took?
I'd say probably 4 or 5 months, just to get the texture of the fabric the way I wanted it.
From India to Qatar, from Qatar to India, back
we
sample.
went back and forth. Not the most eco-friendly way of going about it, to be sending samples back and forth, but we do the best we can. Unfortunately, that cannot be made here. So yeah, we did it. I'm
so
super
they're actually
proud of the
doing
field.
like how much time it takes to create one piece like this?
So to create the fabric itself, not in a huge quantity. We do everything as slow fashion. We only make as much as we need. We use as much as possible. Takes about 15 days. And then to sew these, which we sew here locally, takes 1 day with one tailor per piece.
So how many pieces you produce per collection, let's say, maximum?
I mean, right now we've started with around 150, and then we'll continue as we sell. And they are going. So we'll
sell,
probably
then you order more.
Yeah, I don't order more
sustainability
until
also,
yes,
right?
Yes. And most of the fashion industry actually, 40% of what they produce doesn't even ever get sold, and it goes straight to the landfill without ever touching a human being's body. So I am, that's absolutely outrageous, and I make a point of not using that model where we're, creating with huge minimum order quantities, etc., because we need to avoid that.
So are people ready to wait? Do you have people like, I know that people mostly in Qatar are very impatient to wait for them piece. So they're ready to wait, right? How much time they need to wait if they don't have it in stock?
If they don't have it in stock, if we don't have any extra fabric, then we'll need a couple months to get it going. But I do, I'm not waiting until everything is sold out to produce more. So, you see that a color is running low, I can create more of that or introduce a new pattern or, yeah. So hopefully we won't get to that point where people are getting frustrated.
You know, in any brand, like a big brand, I'm talking now about like a companies, okay? There is a person who called a brand manager. It's the person who are calculating what kind of model gonna be trendy and which pieces of which color, size and shape shall they order for the next time. So you are that person in your own brand. So how do you guess, or did you have like something that you order one time more of this color and it didn't go through? Or you ordered that one and it was less? How can you touch the point when you guess how much exactly you need? Or is it even possible?
I do try to sort of keep an eye on trends a little bit, but I'm not a very trend conscious person either. You know, I mean, from a business standpoint, it's nice to know, okay, well, you know, fashion's kind of going in this direction. People are wearing a lot of black, which they always are because it's the easiest thing to wear, and I love black. But, you know, there's always, you get a general sense of where things are. Having said that, I think it's important not to focus too much on that, because then you end up looking and being like everyone else. And I think one of the biggest complaints about the fashion industry nowadays, with, you know, basically a few brands owning everything, is that everything starts to look alike. You know, money becomes the driving factor. I mean, there's so much money going into marketing that how much is even going into the craft itself anymore?
True.
You know, you're looking at mass production. You're looking, I mean, it's lost its meaning, and it's no longer as in touch with the wearer anymore. It's become business, and it's always business, but to a degree that is just no longer acceptable to me.
True.
And to most people, I think. You know, we're smarter than that. So it's about creating things that, you know, won't go out of fashion.
Like,
things that we'll always
colors?
wear.
How do you choose those colors? For example, you choose this green, you choose this color that you're wearing now with the palms. So who decided? You just take it out, like you sleep over and then, okay.
It
that's
took
the
me months of just obsessively trying to create patterns, create colors, or, you know, I see a color that I'm like, ooh, this would look really great, you know, on people, and try to, you know, and then say, okay, well, maybe I would make it a little brighter, a little this, and then we try to recreate it.
Because, you know, it sounds also simple when you talk, I had a name, I ordered the fabric, because in true, it's a very long process. That's why I want you to shout out to the designers who think that it's simple, to tell honestly how it works, how much time you need for that, how much months you take for that. That's the thing, you know.
I spent just on the patterns alone and the colors and being obsessive, like literally waking up at 4 a.m. after having spent all day, you know, obsessing about it and looking and thinking, and will this work and will this not work, and can I get it right, and how will it look, how big should the patterns be, you know, because the size matters. If it's too small, it looks horrible. If it's too big, it looks horrible. Like, you getting it just right. That was about 4 months of being
4 months.
Completely obsessed just with that.
Do you multiply like in 30 days? How much time is that of
your
life?
I don't even, I
Seriously?
literally was waking up in the middle of the night and would be up for 3 hours doing it.
Wow.
Yeah, my husband and son were laughing at me. They're like,
your
what, you're
eyes
just
are
obsessing
shining.
about patterns again? You're just obsessing about colors again? I'm like, I need to get it right. You know, so yeah.
That sounds, but your eyes are shining so much. The person who don't like cannot, or don't love what he do, cannot do that.
No, this isn't all fun and games. There's failure every day, some level of failure or disappointment, obstacles, challenges. I mean, I think like anything in life, you have to just expect the challenges, right? And you adapt, and
you
and
go
you
out
keep
with
on
the
going.
bigger achievement, right?
You keep on going.
I keep in my hands this beautiful piece. So we have here an ambience. We have a beautiful candle here already. And in my hand, another candle in this beautiful pouch. So tell me that this is the leftovers of the pajamas, basically, right?
Yes.
Of the
yes.
homeware.
So what we did was, if you look at I'm very aware of not wasting fabric at all, especially
Okay.
this fabric, which was handmade by women, hand loomed. We're not going to just throw that out. We're not going to create waste. So with the extra pieces from cutting the sets, each set comes with a small twilly scarf instead of throwing that away. And then we used whatever else was left to create these pouches for candles as
So
small gifts.
sustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so guys, whoever will write the most interesting comment under the teaser in Instagram regarding this podcast or in my YouTube channel when we post the full video, whoever will get the most interesting comment there about our podcast will get this beautiful, beautiful candle from this amazing brand. And believe me, it feels so great to have even small pouch. And by the way, I already have this one and I'm using it for the small things in my bag because every time I touch this fabric, it feels amazing. I cannot explain you how it feels. You need to touch it. So be
so
active.
Glad you love it.
Yeah,
I'm so
I do.
glad.
So be active, be proactive, and please comment. I'm sure this topic will touch you deeply. I'm sure about that. And then you will get this candle. It's waiting for you. And we continue talking about you and your amazing brand. I noticed just yesterday I was checking your website before the interview, and I noticed that the masks are sold out. So who is buying? Okay, Corona times things got passed, but it's still sold out. So who is buying and for which person? Did you track that?
So they're not all sold out, but yeah, they do
Okay.
still sell out, and people are still buying them. And I don't think I'm going to restock once what we have goes, but people are still buying them, and it is mainly Qatari women buying them for themselves and for their husbands.
Okay.
And it's been a steady business. It has not stopped since Corona.
I see. So they traveling, people actually wearing. Are you using it yourself?
I use it when I travel. I use it in airplanes. Until I get settled on the plane, then I'll take it off. But in the airports and stuff, people have colds. Even before Corona, I used to catch colds a lot when I was traveling. So I use it then. But I still see people at the mall. I still see people, at concerts, airports, wearing masks. Yeah,
Cool.
there's a
It's very
definite market
nice.
for it. Yeah.
What are the biggest challenges that you have in your business, let's say, and in your when you have the drop of motivation to do what you do?
A drop of motivation. I think when, really difficult things are happening in the world, and, at the end of the day, as much as I try, it's very important for me for everything I create to be meaningful and to somehow in some way do good. I think it's still hard when, you feel like the world's falling apart and there are wars and genocides and things happening, and you're at the end of the day talking about fashion. And so I did step away for a little while and focus more on that before I realized that I needed to put my energy there, but I also at one point realized I need a creative outlet again. I can't just be living in this misery. I need to find a balance. And yeah, I think that, this has definitely brought some life back to me. So it's been
So what are
really
the
nice.
moments that feel you rewarded and feel you flying? Like when people buy and when you see your...
It's definitely exciting when you see someone wearing your products, and it's out in the wild, as they say. You're somewhere and somebody walks in wearing something you created. And it's someone you don't know, and you're like, wow, they really, they get it. And that's a huge compliment that somebody would spend their money and their energy on something I created. I think it's also really flattering when people, I'm always really proud when I'm invited to do something like this, or even for when people repost from my brand or do all of that, because it means that, wow, people think I have,
Yes.
I'm contributing something interesting, or I have something to say. And Those are always real pinch me moments as well.
I'm very happy to be that moment in your life.
Yes,
I'm very
thank
happy.
you.
Who are the person that you trust the most? Who are the first person who you show your designs or sharing your ideas regarding your brand?
Of course, my husband and my son.
I see.
But we don't agree often on
great.
things.
That's good.
I
That's
mean,
good.
we agree on things in general, but when it comes to my creations, they love them once they're done. But when I'm showing them things along the process, they don't necessarily get it. But they've given me some incredibly valuable advice that has really helped me. I also I really believe in having a really strong tribe of people around you, and I am blessed to have some incredible female friends whom I trust so much, and who give me really honest feedback. And they happen to be really intelligent and successful, and they give me fantastic advice.
You name them, or you prefer to keep it?
I don't want to name them,
Okay.
but they know who they are. They know who they are.
You know who you are, and I'm sure you're gonna watch. As a big supporter of Rina, you're gonna watch this podcast, so your opinion matters to her, big time.
Yeah, very, very, very blessed that way with the support I get and the love.
Oh, you're already answered actually one of the questions that I was planning to ask you now. Are you following the trends? And so the question would be, are you following your competitors? Are you looking, or not competitors, let's say other people who produce similar things? Is it important to follow and to see what others are doing on the field? Or like some artists say, I should stay disconnected. This is distraction for me. I don't want to know what others do. It stops my flow of, artistic feeling. So how do you, for yourself, decide in this?
I think I get inspiration from other places as well. I mean, I don't follow in the sense that I'm watching what they're doing to then okay, I'm going to go do it. No, it's not like that at all. But, I got into loungewear because I live in loungewear. I do. As soon as I enter the house, and I'm home a lot, I put on loungewear. And I'm not talking beat up, t-shirt. And I like it to feel nice and feel good, and I want to feel great, but I'm home and I want to be comfortable, and I want to, it's still it's a luxury product, but it's a lived in, comfortable, the kind of product you just wear and wear and wear. And I live in that. I could tell you every single brand and what's made of what and how much it costs. And so through following that and living that, I learned what I wanted to create.
So you made a study.
I lived a study.
You lived a study, okay.
It wasn't because I had the intention of doing
it's
this in the end.
It's unconsciously happening, right?
Yeah.
Because you are interested in this field, so you study what other people do. Does the price of other brands influence on your price, or this is because you have a different concept, this is out of the question for you?
It does, in the sense that, I know what people are willing to pay for a product of a similar quality. And so, I think about, all right, well, but these brands have brand equity. They've been around a long time. People are willing to pay for a brand name, as silly as that is, because that doesn't mean better quality. It just means something is known, no matter what it's doing to the environment, no matter what, anyways, that's how we all are. I'm guilty of that sometimes too. So I know what people are willing to pay for a certain level of product. And then I think, okay, because I don't have brand equity, I probably need to make it a little bit lower. But then my products cost much more to make because they're eco-friendly, because they're handmade. I mean, just the nature of banana silk is very expensive to produce. And but I have to be aware, because basically what it does is it takes away from my margins.
Yes.
Because I don't want to go above that. So I'll never make as much as I should if I were following the business plan that all these other, that most brands, or that it's recommended that brands follow. But I want to get a product out there, and I want to make it as accessible as possible within the constraints I have to deal with.
You still need to explain to people how often they're asking about what is this banana silk. Do you still need to explain them what is that, or not?
Oh yeah, really? No, I mean, nobody's heard of banana silk. I hadn't heard of it until,
yeah, and I didn't hear it until last week.
Yeah,
when I find out about you from the stories.
It's an incredible fabric. Yeah, it really is, and I didn't know about it. And the fact that it's just pure banana stems, there's nothing else mixed with it. Is amazing.
It feels so nice to know this. Tell me, where you see your brand in 10 years, in 20 years? Did you think about this vision?
I'm always dreaming. Okay. Like I have a lot of dreams. I would love for this to take off, like really take off. And I know for that I need international exposure. I know that there's, some education that needs to happen about sustainable fashion. I know that it's going to require a lot of time and money and perseverance, and probably involve some tears. But I would love to be able to make that happen. I would love to be able to make that happen. And there's so many different places this is just the start. I have so many more ideas of what I can do with this fabric, what other fabrics I can introduce, So inshallah.
Okay. Can you describe me your client? Who is your woman? Give me like 5 objectives. She is like what?
Well, I think there are several women, but some of the traits these women would have. You have sort of the eco warrior, who's into taking care of herself, doesn't want any, bad, ingredients, etc. Not ingredients. What's the word I'm looking for? She doesn't want to live in synthetic materials, etc. Yes. Probably does yoga and Pilates, and she's definitely one. I think there's also a very educated businesswoman who wants quality, wants luxury, doesn't necessarily buy into the mass brands. And when I say mass, that includes luxury brands, but it's the names, we all know and we've all seen. She wants something
open
a little
to experiment,
different.
Right?
Exactly. I think, for the most part, the woman is always educated. You need to, it's not your normal product that's just thrown in front of you. There's a certain level of education, self-reflection, and a desire for beautiful things that feel beautiful too.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I want to ask you what I want to ask you. Keep this one. I want to keep this for the funny short. There was
outtakes.
Yes. Okay, so the last question. What advice would you give for anyone who is planning to start his business now in fashion, or step into the field of what you're doing in terms of the lingerie? You can look at me, or you can look exactly at that camera and say, guys.
First of all, you need to be incredibly passionate, because I think with whatever we create, whether it's fashion, whether it's food, whatever, art, whatever you create, if you're not putting passion into it, people are going to feel it. Any art, any creation needs to have soul. So you better be passionate. But you also need to be passionate because there will be difficulties often, and you're going to have to persevere, and you're going to have grit. And grit is like this resilience and this desire to succeed, to be motivated, to go beyond. And, nothing great comes easily. You've got to really, really be passionate enough to keep going.
And discipline, I think.
Of course, right? Yes, discipline. Probably you're absolutely right.
To build the goal, to see where you're going to. It's really like if you don't see the
Yeah.
The goal, like you will be lost on the way. It's like without GPS, you drive like somewhere else.
Yeah, you need the discipline to keep on going. But I think that I lost my train of thought. There was something you said that I was like,
the goal.
She's
We were talking
me.
about the goal. Yes, you need to see where you're going, and you need to be focused on what you're doing.
Discipline, grit, goal,
and passion. This is
passion?
This is the success key. This is the key success.
Yeah. I think for everything.
Any brand or any business you're planning to start. So that was my last question for today. And I want to remind you guys.
Wait,
you remember?
I remembered something.
Tell me.
People, I think, often enter fashion thinking that it's going to be all glamorous.
I see. And it's not.
It's not. It's not. You actually need to get your hands really dirty. You need to, be involved in everything from top to bottom and really understand it and really be able to, put your soul into it. And there's really, it doesn't always look good.
Mm-hmm.
But when the end product looks good, it makes it all worth it.
At the end, it looks good. At the end, it looks good.
It makes it all worth it. Yeah.
Don't forget to put a nice comment to get this beautiful gift from Rina and MaisonRespire. Thank you so much for being with me today.
This was so much fun.
It was so much pleasure. I told you it's going to be fun.
So much
Thank
fun.
you guys for watching us, and stay tuned for more interesting episodes of the Fashion Podcast.
Bye.
Bye.